And a very happy day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess back with Think and Grow Rich. And, today we want to go through one of the chapters in this book that took me years to understand. I mean, truly, I had no clue of what he was talking about, even though I was reading the chapter over and over again. And then one day, for whatever reason, it clicked. And when it clicked, man, it made such a massive difference in the way I looked at this one particular subject. And the title of this chapter is The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. Now, I don't know about you, but the first time I saw the chapter, I thought, what the hell is he talking about? Sex transmutation. Immediately upon seeing that word sex or hearing it, my mind instantly went to the physical act of. Now, we're all adults here. We can talk in adult language. And that's where my mind went. That is not what Napoleon Hill is talking about here. He's talking about the emotion of sex, the energy of sex, which I had never heard of prior to reading this book. He starts it off, he says, the meaning of the word transmute is in simple language the changing or transferring of one element or form of energy into another. The emotion of sex brings into being a state of mind. He goes on, he says, because of ignorance on the subject, this state of mind is generally associated with the physical. That's where my mind goes as soon as I hear the word. Well, that's where it used to go. He says, and because of proper influences to which most of us have been subjected when it comes to acquiring knowledge of sex, things essentially physical have highly biased our mind. Now, the emotion of sex has back of it the possibility of, Napoleon says, three constructive potentialities. First of all, the perpetuation of mankind, the perpetuation of life, which is the real meaning of the purpose behind it. The maintenance of health. As a therapeutic agency, ladies and gentlemen, it has no equal. Now, not just the act, the physical act of. And then, of course, the transformation of mediocrity into genius through transmutation. He goes on, he says, sex transmutation is simple and easily explained. It's not hard to explain. He says it means the switching of the mind, from thoughts of physical expression to thoughts of some other nature. Switching of the mind? Yeah, let's really go through this really briefly, really simply. When you transmute, all you're doing is changing from one to the other. So if you have a negative thought come in and you blanket that negative thought with a positive thought, you just transmuted the energy. So when this massive desire for just the physical act of sex comes in, the mind, transmute that energy and give it a constructive outlet. Now nowhere, as Napoleon says, abstain from sex. He's not saying that. What he's saying is control it. Control the emotion, control the urge. He goes on, he says, when driven by this desire, men develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability unknown to them at other times. He says, so strong and impelling is the desire for sexual contact that men freely run the risk of life and reputation to indulge in it. Well, we know that's true, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not judging anyone, but think of a golfer that we all know. He's a very well-known golfer. Had a very well-known publicized marriage. Had a couple of beautiful children. And what happened? I mean, seemingly he was having an affair for the physical expression of sex with everybody but his significant other, everybody but his wife. Now, I am not judging this person. I have no right to do so. I'm no better than this person. But what happened? I mean, think about it. What happened? You've got hundreds of millions of dollars in endorsements per year. You're on top of the world when it comes to the game of golf. If you wear a certain shirt, during the following week after the tournament you played in wearing that shirt, the suppliers run out of it. That's what an influence you have on other people. And somehow, some way, You think you're going to get away with having extramarital affairs all over the world? As if nobody knows who you are? So strong and impelling is the desire for sexual contact that men freely run the risk of life and reputation to indulge it. What happened to the reputation of this particular person? Once again, I'm not judging. I have no right to do so. However, when we harness this energy and we redirect this energy along other lines, this motivating force maintains all of its attributes of keenness of imagination, courage, and etc., which may be used as very powerful resources to do other things with. Constructive things. Things that benefit. Instead of things that just satisfy for a very short period of time because of the physical act of. Now when we stop and think about it, Napoleon's onto something here. Now he goes on and he says the transmutation of sex energy. Transmutation, I mean switching it from just the thought and the urge and the desire and the drive for purely physical expression, and we transmute that energy. Napoleon says it calls for the exercise of willpower, to be sure. Willpower. Will is our ability to focus. Can we focus on something other than the physical act of? Just asking. He says, but the reward is worth the effort. Now, the desire for sexual expression is inborn and natural. We don't have to go looking for it. It's natural. It's in here. And oh, by the way, the other thing that's in here is what we call sex energy, which is nothing more than charisma, magnetism, and enthusiasm. Now, here's the issue with those three emotions. Most of us have squashed it. Most of us have taken this wonderful thing called sex energy and we've suppressed it so badly it's pushed inside of us that we don't have any charisma left. We don't have any enthusiasm. There is no magnetism because the fear of criticism kicks our butt. And not only that, we've been subjected to the wrong ideas when it comes to sex. Now, I'm not saying we should run around and sex ourselves all over the place. That's not what I'm saying. It's not what Napoleon's saying. We've just been taught all wrong. I grew up in a very Catholic household. Don't hold that against me. And we were taught to push it in, man. That's a bad thing. That's all. Now wait a minute. How did y'all have me? Just saying, huh? Now he compares this urge for sex. He compares it to a river. And he says a river may be dammed and its water controlled for a time, but eventually it will force an outlet. And we know that's true. I happen to be a river rat. I love running the Ohio River. Our boats are down there. And I can tell you without question, I've witnessed it for myself with my own eyes, that the river will force a way around that dam. It will go over the dam. Enough water comes out of the sky, they're not going to control it. So Napoleon is dead on. Eventually it will force an outlet. He says the same is true of the emotion of sex. It may be submerged and controlled for a time, but its very nature causes it to be ever-seeking means of expression. If it is not transmuted into some creative effort, it will find a less worthy outlet. Now let's go back to our golfer friend. Now remember, he wrote this in 1937. Let's go back to our golfer friend. If he would have taken all of that energy that he wasted in chasing women all over the world just for the physical expression of sex, think if he'd have taken all of that energy and he put it into his golf game. He put it into helping kids learn the golf game. He put it into, good gosh, just use your imagination, any one of 100 or 1,000 constructive endeavors. If he'd have taken the same energy that he was using to cover up what he was doing, and he transmuted that into a constructive, productive outlet, what might he have pulled off with it? It's just a thought. He says, fortunate indeed is the person who has discovered how to give sex emotion and outlet through some form of creative effort. For he has, by that discovery, lifted himself to the status of genius. See, that means you're just in control of your mind. You're in control of the mental activity that's going on. It's not just happening You're in control of it. It's called mind discipline, mental discipline. And when this massive urge comes in and you find yourself just have to run out there, chase some tail, I can only speak from a guy's perspective, control that energy. Give it a constructive outlet. It's not that hard to do, really. Not at all. He talks about how scientific research has disclosed some significant facts. I'd like to share them with you. He says the men of greatest achievement. Now remember, he wrote this in 1937, so it's the man, the man, the man. It's all people. Make no mistake about that. It's all people. Of greatest achievement are those who have highly developed sex natures. People who have learned the art of sex transmutation. The art. The people who have accumulated great fortunes and achieved outstanding recognition in literature, art, industry, architecture, and the professions were motivated by the influence of a woman. The men who achieved that were motivated by the influence of a woman. He says the research from which these astounding discoveries were made went back through the pages of biography and history for more than 2,000 years. This isn't some crackpot research study. Napoleon put years and years and years into this subject because he wanted to be accurate, simplify it, and bring it forward, because truly, running around and not being in control of this thing called sex energy, man, we are drifting through life with no aim, no purpose, no nothing. It's just like, what am I going to do with this thing? I mean, come on, folks. Think about it. He's accurate. He's dead on, man. He says the emotion of sex contains the secret of creative ability. The emotion of sex is an irresistible force against which there can be no such opposition as an immovable body. When driven by this emotion, men become gifted with a superpower for action when we're driven by the emotion, not just the physical act of. There's a big difference, folks. Big difference. Understand this truth and you will catch the significance of the statement that sex transmutation will lift one to the status of genius. Now, what happens when we destroy the sex glands, whether in man or beast? He says you've removed a major source of action. For proof of this, observe what happens to any animal after it has been castrated. A bull becomes as docile as a cow after it has been altered sexually. Sex alteration takes out of the male, whether man or beast, all of the fight that was in him. And he also says sex alteration of the female has the same effect. Ladies and gentlemen, I can say this without question. My little buddy Brutus is right over here. You might have heard him bark a minute ago. He's getting ready to growl at something outside. And Brutus was 4 years old, and he had an issue. One of his testicles didn't drop. One dropped down into the scrotum, the other one did not. So we had no choice from a health standpoint to go get the other testicle, and we went ahead and had him neutered at that time. And I can tell you without question that dog has never been the same. Now make no mistake, I still love my Brutus. He's still my buddy, he's my friend. We chum together. He follows me wherever I go. He's out. He knows if I'm going somewhere, he's out by the truck. And he'll always be my buddy that way. But I can tell you that he has lost the drive, the giddy up and go, the desire for more. It's gone. And it all happened literally within flipping a switch of when he was neutered and when he was altered sexually. Now, he also, because of the change in metabolism, he also put on about 4 pounds. Now, he's not fat. According to the vet, he's not fat. He's just a big wiener dog. But obviously, we're going to work to take 4 pounds. But here's my point. It absolutely altered him when he got neutered. Now, we have another wiener dog, Roscoe. Now, Roscoe's very healthy. Both of his testicles drop down into the scrotum. I have no intentions of having him neutered. He'll be controlled. He's not going to make puppies all over the place out of control. That will not happen. However, the difference in the energy level, the difference in going after what one wants, it's night and day. I should shoot a video of these two dogs and show it to you. So what Napoleon Hill is talking about here is absolutely valid, without question. here's what I've noticed in my 26 years of reading this book and observing people. I've noticed that many people are going through life as if they've been altered sexually and they haven't. And what I mean by that is they're allowing the fear of criticism to rule their life to the degree that they don't stand for anything. Yeah. Where's your drive? Where's your giddy up and go? Did it already get up and went? Where's your drive? Where's your desire to pull off something, to do something? Sex energy is nothing more than magnetism, charisma, and enthusiasm. And if you can't do anything else, then become enthused about something, will you please? Because if you don't, we're just kind of existing in this game we call life. We're not really living it. So we've just gotten started in this chapter. Just gotten started. Napoleon will drive home many points in this chapter that validate everything he is talking about, how we truly want to learn the art of sex transmutation. And not just sex transmutation, transmutation of energy. It's a skill, ladies and gentlemen. When the negative thought comes in, you blanket that negative thought with a positive thought, and that's what you dwell on, the positive. You've just transmuted the energy. You've changed it from negative to positive. That takes awareness, and it takes a skill. And it will require you to practice to get good at it until it becomes a habit. With that, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we want to thank Joe. Without Joe, we wouldn't be here. I greatly appreciate Joe and all he does. Love studying with this man. He's a fantastic individual. So Joe, thank you so much for what you do, my friend. As always, one of our strongest desires is that this day be the very best day you have ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. It's already gone. Tomorrow isn't here. We can't do anything except prepare ourselves to receive the good that we desire. However, today, we can do something about that. So let us do that. When you put your head on a pillow tonight, please do so with a mind full of peace. Remember, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day.